Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about this 2022 Toyota Tundra. Man guys, I am so excited about this. It's been a long time coming. It's only been like 15 years. I mean, if you're counting. I guess I'm counting, but it's been 15 years since we have seen a redesigned Toyota Tundra. My dad worked for Toyota. He worked in the car business for years, like over 30 years, and most of that was with Toyota. So I grew up around Toyota, so I'm a huge fan. And I saw the leaked picture. You can't trust anybody. I mean,
how do you leak a picture? Like, what?
Now, obviously, I'm actually kind of excited because I've been waiting and I've been looking and lurking for a new or like a spied photo of the Toyota Tundra, and now we have an actual photo that Toyota unveiled, and I'm excited. Like, I cannot wait. Now, obviously, there has to be something that we all want to see done. Here's 5 things that I want to see Toyota do for the next Toyota Tundra. But before I go over those, let's take a look at the truck. Really quickly, be sure to subscribe to JB Reviews and make sure you have those bell notifications on. And be sure to check out my other channel, Attainable Exotic Cars. Now let's get back to the video. Now initially, when you take a look at the photo, the truck looks completely different. Like, look at the front fascia, look at the side of the cab, and look at the bed. I mean, it looks like a totally different truck. It's been completely redesigned. The lines on the side fender on the front look great. Now, obviously, when you look at the front, you can tell that this has a huge, bold front grille. Now, notice how they have a light bar just below the Toyota emblem. And I like the 2 smaller light bars on the lower part of the grills. Now, if you look closely, you can tell that Tundra's kind of spelt out on a camouflage part on the grill. But all in all, everything looks really good. It looks like it works together really well. I don't know if you guys can tell even in this picture, but you can tell that they are adding like a red interior to the truck too. So that should be interesting. Now, I do know that there was some other news unveiled. I think Toyota put out a photo showing the front dash, and it shows a large screen. They didn't say how big it was or anything like that, but it's a large screen, obviously with Ford and Ram having these big, Ram has a 12-inch display for their truck, and it looks really nice, really bold. Toyota had to obviously respond to that. Now let's get back to the exterior really quickly. Now on the grille, you can kind of tell that it looks like to be maybe like a radar just above the Tundra where it's spelled out, and bold LED headlights with like a small grille just below it. You can tell that the fender flares has that same camouflage pattern where the Tundra is spelled out on the front. On the side of the hood, they have TRD Pro. That's something that I think Ram and GM, I think GM has started that. That's something that they've done, and Toyota's is kind of following suit. Now, if you take a look at the A-pillar, I love how they black that out too. That really adds a nice contrast, especially if you have a white truck or even any other color that's a little bit lighter than black. It really does stick out, and it makes the truck look really bold. Now, as far as the engine options go, they showed a badge that said iForce Max. So they always had the iForce engine for the V8. It's a 5.7 liter, had 381 horsepower, 401 pound-feet of torque. I mean, that was groundbreaking back in the day. I mean, they were like class leading back in the 2000s. I mean, Toyota was just killing it. And now with this truck, they're talking about a twin-turbo V6. If you're not familiar with this brand, Lexus actually unveiled a twin-turbo V6 for the Lexus LS500. So I'm pretty sure that's going to make its way in more larger Toyotas and Lexus. Like the new LX model is going to be redesigned soon, and I'm sure that's going to probably have the twin turbocharged V6 also. They have not shown the rear of the truck yet, so stay tuned for that. Now, the last thing I'm going to discuss is just the rear suspension. That's the only other thing that hasn't really been unveiled yet, but they are expecting them to replace the leaf springs in the rear. Ram did that on the 3/4 ton and half-ton trucks, and I guess they're kind of following suit. They see it as a good way to mix a good balance of comfort and obviously off-road prowess, because they're thinking about doing an independent rear suspension, which will help with wheel articulation. And there is a talk about air suspension. As you guys know, Ram does air suspension on their half-tons and their HD trucks. So this should be a good opportunity for Toyota to kind of compete in this market. So here's 5 things I think Toyota should do to stay competitive in the marketplace. The first thing is add a regular cab back to your lineup. I know they stopped doing it just because they weren't able to compete. I mean, Ford and really all the domestics have that market on lockdown. A lot of commercial guys need that regular cab truck. It's a great truck for payload if you need it. And it just adds another layer to their brand too. I think that having that regular cab with a long bed is much needed. And even having a regular cab with a short bed would be definitely something useful too for some people. Now the second thing I think Toyota should do is add multiple engine options. As you guys just saw, you have this iForce Max, which is going to most likely be the V6 twin turbo. But Ford, Chevy, and Ram all have multiple engine options. Now I'll be honest here, they do complicate it in my opinion. I think that they don't need as much as they do, but maybe 3 solid powertrains. Maybe the V6 twin turbo with the hybrid system, if they can kind of keep the weight down, and maybe another V8 option too. And on that same note, adding different gear ratio options too. The current 5.7 is geared in the rear with a 430, and I think that they should have a lower one for people who don't plan on towing. The third thing Toyota needs to do with the new Toyota Tundra is add more gears. I'm pretty sure they're going to do this. Back in 2007-8, when they unveiled this truck, having 6 gears was fine, it was great. But in 2021, we need more gears. So most manufacturers have 8, 9, or 10 gears in their transmissions. And I'm pretty sure Toyota's going to do one of those 3. But the biggest thing with the more gears that I've learned was when you're towing, the power delivery is a lot better. And with more gears, you run at lower RPMs, which gets you better fuel economy. And you don't have to use a high axle ratio in the rear. The fourth thing that Toyota needs to do with the new Tundra is put it on a diet. The current Tundra is fat. I did a review, as I mentioned earlier, on towing with it, and with a Crew Max, it had a 7,200 pound gross vehicle weight rating, and it only had 1,200 pounds of payload capacity. Actually, it had less than that because of some of the options. So in order for them to compete with the domestics, they have to find a way to put that truck on a diet using aluminum on the body of it and maybe taking some weight out of the frame. Last but not least, I hope that Toyota does something similar to what Nissan did with the Titan and adding like an in-between half-ton and 3/4 ton truck to the lineup. I love what Nissan did. I found that the Nissan Titan XT does ride a little bit stiffer because it does have a more robust suspension and frame, and they added an Eisen transmission, which is built for towing. I think if Toyota did something similar to them, they could actually really capitalize on that market, because there's some people that will not buy American trucks. I don't know why, but some people won't. But if they added that to their lineup and making it to where it can tow a true 12,000 pounds with a crew cab and having at least 2,500 pounds of payload, I think that would be the perfect in-between truck for 3/4 tons. But on that note, thank you so much for your time and for watching this video. I appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.